Here we go.
All right, folks, you're listening to www.earthcycles.net, bsnorel.blogspot.com, Longest Walk 2, longestwalk.org. And this is a update about what's happening in Ohio. And so some breaking news. So maybe I'll just let you start from the beginning of what you know and how you know it. And introduce yourself first, please.
Hi, I'm Terry. And I was in the car with Jimbo, and he got a call that one of the walkers was arrested because the Ohio police were saying that we didn't have a permit or something like that, and so we weren't allowed to walk. So he got it, and then he went on the phone with the Department of Transportation and with the Department of Justice to try to, try to figure out what's going on, and so he left, and a couple of the other walkers left to go take care of it. But it's in Columbus, Ohio. The walkers were apparently stopped by the police, and one was arrested that we know of so far, and said that we weren't allowed to walk on the highway. And
where exactly in Ohio were the walkers?
We were supposed to go to the Capitol today. So I think I heard downtown Ohio. That's what I heard. Mm-hmm.
In downtown, as opposed to being on the freeway or something like that?
Yes, I believe they're in town.
Stay tuned to www.earthcycles.net. We'll have more information in just a few moments as we try to sort all this out. Mike Lane, who's going to tell us about an incident that happened yesterday.
Basically, we've been walking across this country. Some of us joined in various places. And there have been relatively few incidents with police. The few that have existed were quickly taken care of, and we never, when we walk, we don't stop the staff till it's a designated time to staff, because every time we stop the staff, we circle up and pray. Yesterday, Columbus decided to take a different approach to dealing with us. Rather than talking to us, the Columbus police decided that they were going to strong-arm us and attempt to arrest all of us. Basically, we were walking down the road, and a couple of police demanded that we move to the sidewalk. And eventually, we did move to the sidewalk. And then when we come to intersections, what we do is we basically take over the intersection so there's continuous movement of the staffs. As I was saying, when we stop the staffs, we usually circle up. It's not been a problem in every city we've passed through, in every town we've passed through, all across to this point. But Columbus took a very different approach to what could be considered as, at worst, defense jaywalking. Their approach was to, first of all, a police officer approached one of our security and was manhandling him, tried to manhandle him to the ground when he attempted to stop traffic at a small intersection to ensure that everyone got across safely. And this included a number of children that we had walking. Some of the children were quite young, as young as 3 years old. And after that, there were only about 2 or 3 cars at that time, so they backed off, and there was no force used against them, no threats made, no words other than we must carry the staffs forward. And they were advised of this, and advised that this was a spiritual walk, and the staffs kept forward. A couple blocks later, they then swooped into the support vehicles. Vehicle blocked. There was a 3-lane road going in the eastern direction. There's a main road through town. They blocked off 2 of the lanes, blocking in our support vehicles with 4 vehicles and then a paddy wagon. And then they attempted to approach the drivers of the vehicles, some women on the walk. And they took 2 of their driver's licenses and were coming back to pull them out of their vehicles when some of us came up. And at that point, I arrived on the scene coming from a previous discussion. And then I was manhandled to the van by 4 police officers and had a taser gun pointed at my forehead. At that time, another one of the security personnel also came up to the situation, and he was then 2 of those officers left me, and then two other officers jumped on him and wrestled him to the ground. Even though he wasn't resisting, they slammed him to the ground and kneed him and handcuffed him. That time, the lieutenant decided to have a discussion that was on the scene. At that time, where we were at, there were approximately 20 to 30 police. And when one of the mothers approached one of the vehicles because the children in the vehicles were scared, and her young child was in the vehicle, she was manhandled to the vehicle. One of the other women that went to assist her was also manhandled and shoved by the cops and grabbed by the cops. Then they were almost going to be arrested. I had to argue vociferously with the lieutenant to avoid. They were going to arrest the drivers of the vehicles and impound the vehicles. And the walk had carried on. Thankfully, we told them to. I told them to carry the staffs forward, keep the staffs going forward, and they did. And after reaching some kind of reasonable compromise with the lieutenant on the scene, it was agreed that the walk would carry on to a particular park and then discuss things, and that the people that would not be arrested, and that the person that was taken into custody would be just simply issued a summons. So we carried on, and driving down the road, I saw another 15 to 20 officers with 2 or 3 paddy wagons ahead of the walk. And I informed them of what the lieutenant had said, because it looked like they were going to try and blockade the sidewalk and arrest everybody. And at that time, he said that he just got the call from...
We're here to exercise our religious freedom. Yesterday, when our walkers were walking west of here, they were attacked by the local police. They were arrested and harassed. We know that the legacy of Christopher Columbus lives on here in this so-called Columbus, Ohio. So we just want to remind this community, this building here that represents the citizens of Ohio, that we are here in a peaceful, spiritual way. And we do not appreciate our women and our children to be harassed in this way. We're here to offer some songs in solidarity, support, in a spiritual way. And that is why we're here this morning. We'll be here a few more minutes, and then we'll leave.
On the sidewalk. You understand? On the sidewalk. Be on the sidewalk. That's what we try to tell him. Now, what he's in violation right now, he can be arrested.
You have anything to say, sir? Mr. Officer? Well, we're here on the Ohio State Capitol, and the police are insisting that we move to the sidewalk. They are infringing on our federal spiritual rights as Native American people. So the drum group has proceeded to walk around the Capitol as the police call for backup. Remember, people, federal over state. In 1978, the federal government passed the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. And this is exercising that right as a spiritual walk, the longest walk.